What's up YouTube, it's your boy Legend and I am back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. Now, like I said in the previous video, from now on I want 10 likes on every video. I already know we can do it, so let's get it done. But I'm not going to keep you guys long, it is late as hell where I'm at. So let's just get into the intro so we can start this what if. Naruto walked out of the forest of death, Sasuke and Jiraiya behind him. Jiraiya carried Kankuro and Temari, the both of them tied up with chakra suppression seals on them, and Naruto carried Gaara, the one-tailed Jinchuriki, covered with seals. The three of them looked around at the village that suffered very minimal damage. Jiraiya was the first to speak. Seems things have started to die down. Naruto sighed in relief. He could finally stop worrying. The fight was over. The village survived. They had 3 prisoners, and the sand and sound were retreating. The 3 of them continued to move. After they handed the Sand siblings off to an Anbu member, Naruto finally spoke. "Sasuke, take me to see Araya. I know she must be worried sick at what's going on." Sasuke nodded, and the two went off. As the village settled and slowly began its recovery and grief process. As the two of them jumped from building to building to avoid all the civilians coming out into the streets, Naruto noticed a crowd on the roof of the academy building, but he paid it no mind as he continued to move. When the two of them got to the hospital and entered, they made their way down to the bunker. Naruto and Sasuke looked around as they walked. It's so empty in here. Maybe all the medics are outside? Sasuke shook his head. I doubt it. I didn't see too many on the way here. They must still be hidden. As the two of them got closer to the hospital bunker, they came upon a crowd that was blocking the entrance. Seeing the crowd, Naruto's heart started pounding in his chest as he and Sasuke began pushing through the crowd. "She's not breathing," Naruto heard. "Dear God, who would do something like this?" Naruto started to get more worried as he listened to the voices that were coming from the front of the crowd. "This is so tragic. She was such a nice woman." Naruto finally made it to the front of the crowd with Sasuke, and Naruto's eyes widened. Araya, his girlfriend, lay on the floor, legs spread. A kunai lay 10 feet away from her. Her mouth was open along with her eyes, with a black bruise around her neck. And there were 3 doctors trying to resuscitate her. Naruto ran to her and slid on his knees to her side, the concrete destroying his knees as he pushed one of the doctors out of the way and put a finger to her neck, trying to feel for a pulse as tears welled up in his eyes. Araya! Araya, wake up! Come on!" Naruto put his mouth to hers and began giving her CPR. "Come on, it's okay. Just wake up, please." Naruto stopped his chest compressions and put his ear to her mouth to see if he could hear her breathing at all. But he heard nothing. "Araya, wake up!" Naruto began to full-blown cry as he cradled her head in his lap and leaned over her. No, please, it's not funny. You're okay. Naruto was full-blown sobbing, eyes bloodshot, with snot running down his nose. "You're okay. You're okay. Wake up. Araya, please, I need you. The sight was hard to watch. The doctors turned away, not wanting to tell the blonde shinobi that they found out that she was raped when they did an examination on the corpse, that he was cradling into his chest. The other civilians shook their heads. The boy was in clear distress, and it brought a tear to their eyes, hearing him cry and sob for whoever this woman was to him. Sasuke finally walked up beside Naruto and spoke. Naruto, we can't stay here. Naruto didn't want to hear what Sasuke had to say, and it was obvious by the tone in his voice. Leave. Sasuke sighed. He felt bad. He was supposed to protect her, and yet this happened. And what makes it worse, he didn't even know how it happened. Sasuke grabbed Naruto by the shoulder and tried to pull him up. However, in an emotional rage, Naruto turned with fury in his eyes as he grabbed Sasuke by the throat and slammed him into a wall 25 feet away and held him there. Kunai pointed directly at his eye. Sasuke didn't even see Naruto move, and that's what scared him. This is your fault! You were supposed to protect her! Naruto's eyes were now slitted and red, tears still running down his face. Sasuke put his hands up as Naruto held him by the throat as he croaked out, I know, and I'm sorry, but you can't put this on me. I tried to keep her safe. I even left her with the kunai when I left her here. And even then, she was fine. And there was no one here. Naruto knew Sasuke was right, but he didn't want to admit it out of anger. The kunai shook in Naruto's hands as he continued to hold Sasuke by the throat before he dropped the kunai and fell to his knees sobbing. Time skip. 2 weeks later. It was pouring down rain over the village hidden in the leaves as Konoha held the funeral of the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. 90% of the village was out in attendance for the funeral, everyone dressed in all black. However, Naruto stood away from everyone else. He stood at a completely different grave, and the rain that fell disguised the tears that ran down his face. Naruto stared at one grave, Araya Andrade, a daughter, a friend, and a caring woman. Jiraiya walked up to Naruto and stood beside him. How you holding up, Gaki? Naruto said nothing as he continued to stare at the tombstone. The question was idiotic. He felt broken, like a piece of him was gone. He was hurting on the inside and it wouldn't stop. It was worse than when the villagers treated him like shit. Naruto looked up at Jiraiya. The first woman that treated me like a normal person, that saw more than just the Kyuubi kid, the woman that took a chance on me and became my girlfriend, was raped and strangled to death. Naruto's voice completely broke as he said the next part. I'm perfectly fine. Isn't that how it's supposed to work? But then why does everything hurt so much? The back of my throat feels raw. It feels like there's a hole in my chest. Yet I'm supposed to be fine. Jiraiya couldn't say anything to that. The boy just lost his first love, and he doesn't even know how he's supposed to handle it. He thinks he's supposed to just tough it out and ignore what he feels, yet what he feels is tearing him to pieces. Look, Naruto, The village elders want me to take over as Hokage. However, that's not my thing. So I need you to come with me to find the next Hokage. If you're up to it, that is. I know you're... Naruto cut him off. I said I'm perfectly fine, remember? I have to be. I can't be compromised, especially since we're most likely gonna go to war now. So I have to be fine. The next day, a great distance away, 10 holographic figures stood around in a semicircle, each figure standing on one of the fingers of the ghetto statue. However, one figure stood out. He had purple eyes with a ripple pattern in them, the Renegade. Once he saw that everyone was in attendance, he finally spoke, his voice calm yet commanding. The village hidden in the leaves seems to be in turmoil. Kisame was the next one to speak, his shark-like grin faintly visible, even through the flickering projection. Indeed, Orochimaru seems to be quite useful, even after abandoning the organization. Pain remained still, unmoving as stone, his gaze fixed forward as if he were looking far beyond the statue itself. Kisame, Itachi, you two are in the land of fire, correct? I want you two to gather information on the Nine-Tailed Jinchuriki. If an opportunity presents itself, then capture it. However, this is merely a reconnaissance mission. The holographic Itachi slowly opened his eyes, revealing a fully matured three-tomo Sharingan. There was no hesitation in his voice. As you wish. It will be done. Without another word, both Kisame and Itachi vanished, their projections dissolving. Pain's gaze shifted slightly. Zetsu, go with them. Observe from a distance. Zetsu gave a silent nod, his form splitting subtly before fading into nothingness. The statue fell quiet once more, but the hunt had already begun. Meanwhile, Naruto walked slowly alongside Jiraiya, his footsteps heavy, uneven, as if each step required effort. His head hung low, eyes dull and unfocused, fixed on the dirt path beneath him. A small travel bag rested against his back, the strap digging into his shoulder, but he didn't seem to notice. Hey, Naruto. Naruto, you there? Naruto blinked, as if being pulled back from somewhere far away. He lifted his head slightly, confusion clouding his expression. Huh? You called me sensei? Jiraiya studied him for a moment as they continued walking. This wasn't the same Naruto. In his place was someone quieter, more hollow. We're almost there, Jiraiya said, keeping his tone light, even if concern lingered beneath it. There's a town up ahead. We'll take a break there. Naruto gave a small nod, but said nothing else. His mind had already drifted again. Flashback. Naruto stood by the doorway, arms crossed, watching Araya as she stretched on her tiptoes, her fingers barely brushing the yeast sitting on the top shelf. She wasn't even close. He let out a quiet chuckle, shaking his head. She clearly refused to ask for help, her pride written all over her face. Araya backed up slightly, placing her hands on her hips as she glared up at the shelf like it had personally offended her. Seriously? Whose stupid idea was it to put this up here? Naruto finally pushed himself off the wall and walked over. Without a word, he crouched slightly and slipped an arm under her legs and around her lower back, lifting her in a smooth motion. What? Naruto, she yelped, her hands instinctively grabbing onto his shoulders as she looked down at him, wide-eyed. Relax, he muttered, a small smirk tugging at his lips. Now elevated, Araya huffed, but quickly reached up and grabbed the yeast. Victory. Naruto slowly lowered her back down, steady and careful. Once her feet touched the ground, he leaned in and pressed a quick kiss to her cheek before stepping back, giving her space. Araya smiled softly, her earlier frustration completely gone as she turned back to her work. You don't even know how lucky I am to have you. End of flashback. Naruto's breath hitched. The memory shattered, leaving behind a crushing emptiness. His face grew hot as pressure built behind his eyes. His lower lip trembled as he raised his arm, pressing it against his face, trying and failing to hold himself together. A shaky breath escaped him, then another, and then he broke. Silent tears slipped past his guard, soaking into his sleeve as his shoulders tensed. He couldn't stop. No matter how hard he tried, the memories kept coming. Her voice, her smile, the way she looked at him like he wasn't a monster. Now, she was gone. Beside him, Jiraiya slowed his pace slightly, glancing at Naruto from the corner of his eye. He saw the trembling, the way Naruto's breathing faltered, the way he tried to hide it. Jiraiya clenched his jaw. There was nothing he could say. No wisdom, no joke, no distraction. This wasn't something you talked away. The closest he'd ever come to understanding this kind of pain was watching Tsunade walk away with Dan. And even that didn't compare. Not really. Naruto wasn't just heartbroken, he was shattered. Jiraiya exhaled slowly, his gaze shifting forward as the outline of a small town came into view in the distance. We'll rest soon, he said quietly. Naruto didn't respond, but he kept walking, even as pieces of him were still buried back in Konoha, alongside her. Meanwhile, in Konoha, Itachi and Kisame walked through the gates of the Leaf Village, as if they were shinobi there. No one even looked their way as they walked. Kisame looked around, taking in the scenery. How's it feel to be back home, Itachi? Itachi said nothing as the two of them walked into a restaurant, sitting down. The two of them didn't even order, nor did anyone acknowledge them at all. It was as if they weren't there. The two of them just sat there and listened. A small restaurant was a good place to gather information, especially information on a Jinchuriki that everyone was supposed to hate. The two listened to the chatter around them. Did you see that boy at the third Hokage's funeral? The one who stood at a completely different tombstone? You mean him? Yes. It was honestly so disrespectful. Everyone is mourning Lord Third, yet he's over there crying at another tombstone, as if someone were dumb enough to actually care for him and let that thing get attached. You know what? I really don't feel comfortable talking about that boy. It's mean. He was clearly very distraught and crushed. The woman scoffed, as if a fox could ever fall in love. Kakashi then body flickered next to the entrance. He was going to grab the woman and throw her in jail, but he froze at the entrance and quickly moved to the side of the entrance and took a breath. There were 2 strong chakra signatures in there, and one was nearly as big as Naruto's, though they were suppressed. Another woman walked up to the table. Hey, You can't shame that boy. You weren't there. I work at the hospital and I saw what happened and ran the scans. I don't know if it was a parent, guardian, or lover, but the woman was taken advantage of and then strangled to death during the invasion. I watched him try to bring her back with CPR when he got to the bunker. I also watched him and heard him cry his eyes out and try to trick himself into thinking that she was just asleep. Now, if you keep talking about him, I'll report you to the Anbus and have you arrested. The girl then walked away as Kurenai and Asuma walked up to Kakashi. They planned to walk past him, but he stopped them. Good afternoon, you two. I'm surprised you're not training your students in the training grounds after what happened. Kakashi then cut his eyes to the restaurant, and Kurenai felt it, but said nothing. Asuma spoke up. Well, Choji is spending time with his family. Shikamaru is doing a bit of training with his dad. And Ino, she finally realized that her fasting and dieting was doing more harm than good. So she's eating at Choji's house. Sasuke then walked up to Kakashi. Hey Kakashi, I need more training, especially after what just happened. Kakashi pretended as though he just noticed his student. Oh, Sasuke. Sure, I'll train you. However, come back in an hour. Though I really think you'd do good with a rival. Someone like Naruto. However, he's already surpassed you by nearly 2 ranks, and in skill and technique. Speaking of him, he left earlier with Master Jiraiya to go and find Lady Tsunade. Sasuke frowned. Naruto was a sensitive topic after what just happened, so he walked away. Kisame, we're leaving. Without anyone noticing, both Itachi and Kisame left. And when they were gone, Kakashi made sure Sasuke was gone before Kurenai and Asuma shunshined away. Meanwhile, with Kisame and Itachi, the 2 S-rank rogue ninja walked in silence along the edge of a small lake. The water was calm, almost unnaturally so, reflecting the gray sky above, like a sheet of polished glass. A slight breeze rippled across the surface, distorting their reflections into shifting shadows. They were heading toward the village exit. There was no reason to stay. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki wasn't here. Kisame exhaled through his nose, rolling his shoulders as he adjusted the massive cloth-wrapped blade on his back. What a waste of time, he muttered, though the grin on his face suggested he wasn't entirely disappointed. All that hype about the Nine-Tails, and we don't even get a glimpse. They both stopped. Kisame's grin widened, sharp and predatory, as his head tilted slightly upward. Look here, Itachi. Seems we have company. Itachi's expression didn't change. His eyes, calm and unreadable, shifted forward. Asuma Sarutobi and Kurenai Yuhi stood in their path. The wind picked up slightly, rustling their clothing, tension thickening the air between them. Asuma was the first to speak, his voice steady but laced with hostility. Itachi Uchiha, you've got some nerve coming back here after slaughtering your entire clan. His grip tightened around his trench knives, chakra already beginning to flow into the blades, and bringing another rogue ninja with you, Kisame Hoshigaki. Itachi remained silent, but Kisame chuckled, low and amused. So you know me, he said, reaching back and grabbing Samihada's hilt. I'm honored, really. But you should have stayed out of our way. In an instant, Kisame lunged forward. The ground cracked beneath his feet as he swung Samihada in a brutal arc. Asuma reacted immediately, crossing his chakra-infused blades just in time to block the strike. The impact sent a shockwave through the air. Asuma's arms trembled under the sheer force, his sandals digging into the dirt as he was pushed back several feet. Damn, he muttered under his breath. He's strong. Behind them, Itachi hadn't moved. He simply stood there, watching. And then, Kurenai's hands blurred through a series of hand signs. Genjutsu, tree binding death. The world shifted. A massive tree erupted behind Itachi, its bark twisting and writhing as branches shot forward, binding his arms and torso. The illusion tightened, locking him in place. From the trunk above, Kurenai emerged, kunai in hand, her expression sharp and focused as she lunged downward toward his neck. For a brief moment, it looked as if she had him, but then Itachi looked up and smirked. The world snapped. Kurenai's eyes widened in shock as the illusion reversed. Now, she was the one bound to the tree, her arms restrained, body immobilized. What? She gasped, panic flickering across her face. Itachi stepped forward calmly, drawing a kunai as he approached her. Your talent in genjutsu is impressive, he said, voice quiet, almost indifferent. But against an Uchiha, it is meaningless. He stopped in front of her. Our eyes see through deception. Our minds are hardened by it. The kunai rose, but just before it could strike, Kurenai bit down on the tip of her tongue. Pain exploded through her senses. The illusion shattered. She twisted her body just enough to avoid the fatal strike, blood already filling her mouth as she landed and staggered back. Itachi moved instantly, his leg lashed out in a precise, devastating kick. Kurenai barely managed to block, but the force sent her flying backward, her body skipping across the surface of the lake like a stone before crashing into the water. Before Itachi could pursue, he stopped, cold steel pressed against his throat. I see you finally showed yourself, Kakashi. Kakashi stood behind him, Sharingan exposed, eyes sharp and focused. Couldn't let you have all the fun, Kakashi replied calmly. The air grew heavy. 3 elite shinobi against 2 monsters. And the battle hadn't even truly begun. Meanwhile, with Naruto followed behind Jiraiya without a word, his gaze fixed down on the floor as they entered a large building. He didn't notice the lanterns, didn't notice the soft music, didn't notice the way the woman inside turned their attention toward them. The place was warm, dimly lit, filled with faint scent of perfume and incense. The women were beautiful, elegant, well kept, their movements graceful and deliberate. But Naruto saw none of it. His world was still somewhere else, still back in Konoha, still at that grave. Jiraiya, on the other hand, noticed everything. A grin slowly spread across his face. Well now, this is more like it, he muttered under his breath. A woman approached him, her voice soft and inviting. Welcome. Are you two looking for relaxation? Naruto didn't respond. He didn't even look up. Jiraiya glanced at him, the grin fading slightly. Yeah, he said after a moment, though his tone wasn't as enthusiastic now. Something like that. The two walked into a brothel. The woman escorted the two of them to a large couch in the corner of the room that was shaped like a semicircle. Our best woman will be with you shortly to discuss consultation and services. And as promised, they are all drug use free. They do not smoke or drink. They are free of all diseases. And as promised, they are all very friendly and cordial. Naruto didn't even know what was happening when he sat down. All he knew is that 1 minute Jiraiya was next to him, and the next, he was gone, and there were two women on either side of him. You don't need to worry about a thing. The gentleman over there already paid us, so just let us take care of you. The brunette then kissed Naruto on the cheek as her small feminine hand started to travel across his torso. Naruto pulled away confused. What the hell was this? The hell did they mean they were already paid? Why were they throwing themselves at him? The woman with black hair grabbed Naruto's hand. Shh, just calm down. Brothels may have a bad reputation for having dirty women, but I promise we are all clean and drug free. Naruto looked at the woman. He had to do a double take. Long black hair, an almond-shaped face, brown eyes with full pink lips, and a figure that contained wide hips with a smaller, more modest B-size breast. For a second, Naruto mistook her for Araya, but he 100% knew it wasn't her. Naruto shook his head and moved away from them on the couch. No thanks. Now's not a good time. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you at it. Remember, the like goal will be 10 likes. Well, that's the like goal on every video. But I'm out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.